Nandi moved through the polished hallways of Mbawe Constructions with quiet determination, her uniform neat, her head always slightly bowed. She wasn't just a cleaner, she was a young woman carrying the weight of 2 lives. Every morning before dawn, she took a crowded bus from the outskirts of Lagos, all so she could earn enough to pay her younger brother, Kayo's school fees. Their parents had passed away in a car accident years ago, leaving Nandi as both sister and mother to the boy. Life hadn't been kind, but she never let it steal her dignity. She worked silently, mopping floors, cleaning glass windows, scrubbing toilets, never complaining, never late. Many in the office barely noticed her. To them, she was invisible, but Nandi saw everything. She listened. She remembered who treated her like a human being and who didn't. Some staff would smile politely. Others would leave trash on the floor right after she cleaned it, as if daring her to break. Still, she never lost her grace. Every break she got, she would sit in a corner and pull out a tiny notebook where she jotted down ideas, business thoughts, motivational quotes, and dreams she never dared to say out loud. Her eyes sparkled with intelligence hidden behind silence. To the world, Nandi was just a cleaner, but to Kayo, she was a hero. He knew how hard she worked, how she skipped meals just so he could have school books. Every drop of sweat she shed was a promise that his future would be brighter than hers. And so, with every mop stroke and every sigh she swallowed, Nandi built not just a clean office floor, but the foundation of something much bigger, something no one in that company could see coming. That morning, the air was tense. International clients from South Africa and Germany were touring the company's latest construction site, a sleek high-rise in the heart of Lagos. Everyone was on edge, making sure everything looked perfect. Nandi had been asked to do a quick cleanup before the delegation arrived. She worked fast, wiping down the marble floors near the entrance, carefully staying out of everyone's way. But as the clients walked in, the regional manager, Mr. Baraka, spotted Nandi still near the doorway with her cleaning cart. His eyes narrowed with irritation. He didn't care that she was doing her job. All he saw was someone he thought didn't belong in that moment. In a loud, sharp voice, he snapped, "Can someone get this cleaner out of here? She's embarrassing us in front of our guests." Nandi froze. Her heart pounded as every eye in the room turned toward her. The clients paused, surprised. Some even looked uncomfortable, but Mr. Baraka wasn't done. He walked up to her, waving his hand like she was an insect. "Don't you know how to vanish when important people arrive? This is a high-profile meeting, not a market." Nandi swallowed hard, blinking back tears. She slowly pushed her cart away, her face burning with shame. The clients exchanged quiet glances, clearly uneasy with what they'd just witnessed. One German woman frowned deeply, whispering something to her colleague. But Mr. Baraka didn't notice. He was too full of himself, too busy pretending to be a perfect host. What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that the woman he had just insulted like trash was about to become the most powerful person in that room. Nandi didn't say a word. She didn't argue, didn't defend herself. She simply lowered her eyes, tightened her grip on the cleaning cart, and began to walk away. Her back was straight, her step steady, even though her heart felt like it was cracking open. The hallway seemed longer than usual, every footstep echoing with the sting of humiliation. People moved aside, watching her go, but no one said anything. Not a single person stood up for her. Yet still, Nandi walked with grace, refusing to let them see her cry. Inside, she was breaking. The words Mr. Baraka had thrown at her echoed in her mind, like knives dressed in silk. She knew she hadn't done anything wrong. She was just doing her job, trying to survive another day. But somehow, to people like him, her presence was shameful. To them, a cleaner was dirt, not a person. She reached the staff restroom, locked the door behind her, and let herself breathe. No tears. Not yet. Just silence. She looked at her reflection in the mirror. The same Nandi, the same hands that had raised her brother, the same woman who had dreams bigger than this building. "They don't see you," she whispered to herself, "but that doesn't mean you're small." After washing her face, she returned her cleaning tools to the supply closet and signed out early. No scene, no complaint, just silence and strength. She walked past the lobby security with her chin high, every step a quiet rebellion. What no one knew was that Nandi wasn't walking away in defeat. She was walking towards something greater. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was the calm before the storm. And soon, they would all remember the name they tried to forget. What no one at the company knew was that Nandi's life outside of work was nothing like what they imagined. Beneath her simple clothes and quiet nature was a heart deeply connected to someone powerful. Kweku Badu, the elusive CEO of Mbawe Constructions, the same man whose name made managers straighten their ties and employees lower their voices. He wasn't just her secret, he was her safe space. They had met by chance months earlier, when Kweku visited a local hospital Nandi was volunteering at during her free hours. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She just offered him a bottle of water and a warm smile. That moment stuck with him. Their connection grew slowly, quietly, hidden from the chaos of the world. Kweku respected Nandi's wish to keep their relationship private. She never wanted favors or shortcuts. All she wanted was to build her life on her own terms. He admired her strength, her selflessness, her ability to stay humble, even when no one saw her worth. And in return, he gave her his heart. Kweku had been away for 3 months, overseeing a new project in Kenya. But the moment he landed back in Lagos and checked his messages, he knew something was wrong. Nandi's last voice note sounded tired, her words heavy. He called her immediately, and she tried to laugh it off, but he could hear the pain behind her silence. After a few questions, he got the truth. What Mr. Baraka had said, what the clients had witnessed, and how Nandi had walked away without a word. Kweku's jaw clenched. That wasn't just his employee they had disrespected. That was his woman. And no one, not even his highest-ranking manager, got away with treating her like she was nothing. The next morning, the entire office buzzed with tension. Word had spread like wildfire. Mr. Kweku Badu, the CEO himself, was coming in for a surprise visit. He hadn't stepped into the Lagos branch in months, and no one knew why he was suddenly showing up now. Managers scrambled to adjust their ties, workers dusted off desks, and even Mr. Baraka looked nervous for the first time in years. The lobby gleamed, the conference room smelled like fresh lemons, and everyone held their breath. But no one was prepared for what happened next. The elevator doors opened slowly, and out stepped Kweku Badu, tall, calm, powerful, in every move. But it wasn't just him. Right beside him stood Nandi, dressed in a sleek, elegant navy blue dress, her hair pulled back gracefully, her posture confident and poised. Gasps filled the room. People whispered. Eyes widened. Was that the cleaner? Mr. Baraka's face drained of color. He blinked several times, not believing what he was seeing. The same woman he had insulted yesterday now walked beside the CEO like an equal. No, more than that, like someone precious. Kweku didn't smile. He scanned the room with cold focus, then gently placed his hand on Nandi's back as they walked through the lobby. Staff froze, too stunned to even say hello. No one dared speak. Nandi didn't say anything either. She just looked straight ahead, chin lifted. For once, everyone saw her, not as a cleaner, not as someone to be ignored, but as someone important. That day, the walls of silence cracked. Kweku hadn't come just to visit the company. He came to show the world who Nandi really was. And the moment was only just beginning. The staff had barely recovered from the shock of seeing Nandi walk in with the CEO, when Kweku called an emergency staff meeting in the main conference hall. Every employee squeezed into the room, whispering and glancing at Nandi, who now stood quietly at the front beside Kweku. Mr. Baraka sat stiffly, trying to act composed, but the sweat on his forehead told another story. Kweku raised his hand, and the room fell silent. His voice was calm, but carried a weight that made every word stick. Some of you may know Nandi as a cleaner, he said, but today I want to reintroduce her properly. He turned toward Nandi and smiled, genuinely, proudly. This is Nandi Badu, my wife, and from today She is the new executive director of staff welfare. Gasps erupted. Mouths fell open. Mr. Baraka's jaw dropped so low it looked like it might never close again. The woman they had ignored, belittled, and treated like nothing was not only the CEO's wife, but now one of the most powerful figures in the company. Kweku continued, Nandi has seen how some of our staff are treated, those who work hard but get no respect. That ends today. She will be overseeing all policies related to staff support, respect, and fairness. If you have a problem, her office is where you go. Nandi finally spoke, her voice calm and clear. I know how it feels to be invisible, but every role in this company matters. From the boardroom to the broom, we all deserve dignity. The room was silent. Even those who had once laughed at her couldn't meet her eyes. That day, everything changed. Nandi wasn't just cleaning floors anymore. She was cleaning the culture, and it started. As the meeting came to an end and people slowly filed out, stunned and silent, Mr. Baraka stayed seated, frozen in his chair. He knew the ground beneath him was shaking. He had just watched his pride crumble in front of everyone. After a long pause, he finally stood up, adjusted his tie with trembling hands, and approached Kweku and Nandi. His voice was low, almost pleading. Sir, Madam, I didn't know. Please accept my apology. It was never personal. Nandi didn't flinch. She looked him in the eye, her expression calm but unreadable. Kweku, however, stepped forward and blocked Baraka's path with a firm but controlled voice. You didn't know she was my wife, so you thought it was okay to humiliate her? He asked. Baraka lowered his head, unable to answer. Kweku's voice grew sharper, not angry, but powerful. This isn't about Nandi being my wife. This is about how you treat people when you think no one important is watching. That says everything about who you are. There was no shouting, no dramatic scene, just the cold truth cutting through the room. Kweku turned to one of the HR officers standing nearby. I want a full formal review of Mr. Baraka's behavior. Pull the security footage, speak to the clients who witnessed the incident, and interview the staff. We don't tolerate workplace humiliation, especially from leadership. Baraka's face turned pale. He opened his mouth to object, but Kweku raised a hand. You will get your chance to speak, in front of HR, officially. The silence that followed was heavier than before. No one clapped, no one cheered. But deep inside, a quiet sense of justice had begun to rise, and Mr. Baraka finally understood. His title could no longer protect him from accountability. Within just a week of her appointment, Nandi stepped into her new role with purpose. She didn't waste time. Her first order of business was calling for a private meeting with the janitorial staff, kitchen workers, security guards, and other employees who usually went unnoticed. They were hesitant at first, unsure if it was real. But when Nandi entered the room, smiling warmly and offering everyone a seat at the round table, they realized she hadn't changed. Only her position had. She listened carefully as they shared stories. Some had faced insults. Others had worked years without a raise. A few had even been threatened with termination for speaking up. Nandi wrote everything down, nodding gently, her eyes serious. She remembered each face, each name, and she promised them things were going to change. That same day, she introduced the Respect and Dignity Policy, a new workplace reform that gave every employee, no matter their rank, the right to report mistreatment anonymously and safely. Supervisors would now be reviewed based on how they treated junior staff, not just on performance targets. She launched mental health support for employees, surprise site checks for toxic departments, and quarterly appreciation bonuses for overlooked departments like cleaning and maintenance. The staff couldn't believe it. In rooms where their voices had never mattered, they were now being heard, because one of their own had made it to the top. Word spread quickly, not just within the company, but to other firms too. Nandi's story became a quiet revolution. She didn't just rise, she lifted others with her, and every time she walked through the building, people stood a little taller, knowing that someone powerful finally stood for them. What Mr. Baraka once mocked had become the heartbeat of a better future. The very clients who had been present during the humiliating incident with Nandi couldn't believe what had unfolded the next day. They came back to the company with fresh eyes and a new respect that went far beyond just business. When they arrived at the site, they were greeted not by tension or whispered gossip, but by a sense of pride and purpose that filled the air. The stories of how the CEO had stood up for fairness and dignity had already reached them before they even stepped inside. During the meetings, the clients openly praised the company's swift and strong response. They said it was rare to see a leader take immediate action against arrogance and abuse, especially in such a high-pressure industry. To them, it wasn't just about construction anymore. It was about the kind of company that stood for values, respect, and equality. They admired how the CEO didn't just defend his wife, but championed the rights of every single worker, no matter their position. Many clients shared that this ethical stance made them more confident in partnering with the company. They felt assured that Mbawe Constructions wasn't just focused on profits, but also cared deeply about the people who made the company run. It was clear that integrity wasn't just a word on their website, it was something they lived by. As word spread through the business community, more clients asked about Nandi's reforms, wanting to learn from the company's example. What had started as a shameful moment turned into a powerful story of courage and change that attracted new business and strengthened old relationships. The company wasn't just building structures anymore, it was building trust. Nandi's story quickly spread far beyond the walls of the construction company. What started as a simple tale of a cleaner rising to power captured the hearts of thousands across social media and news platforms all over Africa. People were drawn not just to her rise, but to how she carried herself, with grace, humility, and quiet strength that felt real and relatable. Unlike many stories of instant fame, Nandi never showed anger or bitterness about the way she was treated. Instead, she spoke softly about dignity, respect, and the importance of standing up for yourself, no matter where you come from. Videos of her speeches, interviews, and even candid moments where she helped staff went viral, shared millions of times by women who saw themselves in her journey. Young girls from Lagos to Nairobi started calling her a role model, a symbol that no matter your background, you can rise and make a difference. Influencers, activists, and everyday people praised her for reminding Africa's women that power doesn't always roar. It sometimes whispers in confidence and kindness. Beyond the online buzz, Nandi's impact grew in schools and communities. Women's groups invited her to speak about leadership and resilience. She quietly funded scholarships for girls who wanted to pursue education but lacked the means. Her story became more than just about her. It became a beacon of hope for women fighting their own battles. Nandi showed that true power comes from humility and using your voice to lift others. In a world that often tried to silence women like her, she became proof that strength can be gentle and that sometimes the most powerful leaders come from the most unexpected places. Her name was no longer just known in boardrooms, but in hearts across Africa. If Nandi's story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales that celebrate courage and kindness. Remember, true strength lies in humility and standing up for what's right, no matter where you start.